Yeah, that's on there.
Almost sounds like a library. Anything already?
Yeah.
Nick, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Nearly an hour ago.
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag and remain standing for the invocation? Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thomas Edison once said, "Many of life's failures are experienced by people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." Let's pray. Gracious Father, we thank you tonight for the opportunity to conduct the business of this community. We pray your blessings on all assembled here and those in our community tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you, Mary.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember McDonald?
Here.
Graham? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Candia?
Here.
Day?
Here.
Mayor Martino?
Here. Okay. Declaration of conflict of interest? No ceremonial matters tonight. 7 items from the public, this is non-agenda items. Anyone that would like to speak to the council, please go up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and we may tell us exactly what you're here for.
Hello, Council. My name is Tom Capps. I represent the Stanislaus County Library. It's going to be a bittersweet evening, and I'll explain here shortly. I'll go over items for what's happening at the library. This month, finishing up this month, we have Lego Day on Thursday at 3:30, and then Stay and Play on Friday. And then February, we're going to have some crafts and events. A teddy bear craft on February 6th. For Valentine's on February 8th. We have Lego and another Valentine's craft on the 10th of Saturday. And towards the end of the month, we have something a little delicious with a Cookie Monster craft.
Oh.
So keep your eyes open for that. I'd like to have Sophia stand up. She's also represented the Stanislaus County Library. This is where it gets bittersweet. It's sweet that she's going to be the new branch manager for the Newman Library. And fortunately or unfortunately, I've been promoted, so I'll be leaving Newman. So that's the bitter part, that I will leave such a nice community. And I'd like to think how welcome I've been here, how welcoming the people have been here. I will miss it, and I have told the Stanislaus Librarian that when I go, I am going to miss Newman. And that's going to be the hardest decision I made, was taking this position. It has been wonderful being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. I was going to say, Tom, you've been a great librarian, and you know you've made this place a better place to live, the way you've conducted the library and tried to get more people involved, so the city really thanks you for all that.
I can't take all the credit. All I can say is I've only stood on the shoulders of giants. Thank you.
All right. Let me just say this. I'm going to let my wife know, because the kids are very excited in terms of all the programs, especially those at the slime. And so we're going to miss you. And I'm going to have to let my wife know, because she's always talking about the library and how it's really grown. So we'll miss you.
Living in capable hands, Sophia's going to take the baton. She's going to run faster now.
Congratulations, Tom. Thank you for our service, and welcome, Sophia.
Good evening. My name is Rosalie Hurst, and I'm on the Newman Crozana Unified School District Board. And I just wanted to make certain that everyone knows that last Thursday, or on the 18th, we rolled out the Footsteps to Brilliance program, and we had about 50 people that showed up at the event, which was a much larger turnout than what we had hoped for. And we really want to get this out into the community so we can accommodate that 30,000 word gap that we have. So it's a wonderful program. We were trying to get people registered. I couldn't make it to that meeting because I was trying to prepare for George and Roberta's retirement party. So I was told that they were going to make me the voice to go out to all the different organizations and talk about it. So once again, Footsteps to Brilliance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Anyone else like to speak to the council? There being none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the January 9th, 2018 meeting. D, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, a resolution approving the statement of investment policy for the city of Newman. E, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, a resolution approving a Measure L capital improvement program project. This for fiscal year 2017-2018. F, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, authorizing the funding source for the purchase of 102.4 acres of land and authorizing budget adjustment. G, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, approving a proposal for service with Santee to perform well profiling services of the three of the city's existing wells.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as read. And I'll second that.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. Number 9 is the public hearing. A, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As read, Resolution 2018, next in number, is before you regarding the abatement of a nuisance at 2124 Hidden Canyon Way. Before you can see some photographs of the subject property. There are a number of items accumulating in the yard: grass, weeds, buckets, pipes, various rubbish. The property owner has been contacted as prescribed in the code. We gave an initial notice and a final notice to the property owner. Have not heard back, therefore we are moving forward with the abatement. Staff's happy to answer any questions.
No question. And with that, I'm going to open up the public, because this is a public hearing, for anyone that would like to make any statements. There being none, I bring it back to the council for direction.
I make a motion, we adopt resolution number 2018, next to number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
Second motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. B, second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2018, next number, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newman, amending Title IX Police Regulations, adding Section 9.17 to the Newman Municipal Code to authorize the Chief of Police to operate a prescription medical disposal program and authorize staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
Evening, Mayor, council members. Before you tonight is the public hearing on the ordinance that you moved forward at January 9th, 2018 meeting. This is the drop the drug box that'll go into our lobby. This ordinance is necessary to be in compliance with, federal compliance with Title 21 Code of the Federal Regulations, Part 1301.24A2. This box allows people to drop off their unwanted or old prescriptions that in a safe spot, and will dispose of it. Prescription medication is a huge epidemic in this country right now, and giving people a place to get rid of this so they don't flush it and cause problems to our environment is the way to go. So we already are taking on prescription drugs, but this just allows a box, there to be a box in our lobby and us to collect it from there. So we recommend that you pass this ordinance.
great program. Any questions to the chief tonight? If not, then I'll open up to the public. This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak to the issue? There being none, I bring it back to the council for direction.
Move for the adoption of ordinance number 2018 next in number, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newman, amending Title 9 Police Regulations, adding Section 9.17 to the Newman Municipal Code to authorize the Chief of Police to operate a prescription medication disposal program and authorize staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
Real quick before we move on, Michael, when this gets approved or when this gets all set up, can we send a flyer out in the monthly bills possibly?
Yeah, we can work on getting something, we have an area in our monthly bill that we...
To let people know that it's there and can get the drugs out of the house so teenagers don't get their hands on it.
Fair enough.
Good idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 10, regular business, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, a resolution receiving and accepting the general purpose financial statement of Transportation Development Act audits for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2017.
Evening, Mayor and council members. For tonight's resolution to receive our financial statements, the accounting firm of R.J. Riccardi has been conducting that audit. They've been working with us since last May, requesting a lot of documents and reports from us, and also being on site and reviewing our records that we have. Michael O'Connor, CPA and Director from R.J. Riccardi, is here to present the report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council of the City of Newman. As Louis introduced me to, my name is Michael O'Connor, and I was the auditor in charge of the engagement. And I just wanted to go over the city's financial statement, just briefly, point out some highlights. Feel free to interrupt me or ask me questions at any time. There's a basic financial statement document, and I was just going to turn to page 1 if you have a copy of it. Page 1 of the document is our independent auditor's report. It is what's called an unmodified opinion. It's the best opinion you can receive. There are no modifications, no issues, and everything was done in compliance with accounting standards and auditing standards. This report is on our letterhead. We do work for the City Council. If our contact information is there, if you ever had questions of myself or the firm I work with, you feel free to contact me with questions anytime. Next, I'd like to turn to page 14. Page 14 is the city's statement of net position as a snapshot as of June 30, 2017. And this report is prepared on a full accrual basis as if the city was a for-profit corporation. At the bottom, the last line, it says total net position. Your governmental activities had a $25 million net position. This is your assets less liabilities. And then your business type activities, which is mainly your water and sewer, had about $16.5 million net position. The next page, page 15, is a statement of activities. It shows the summary of activities for the city. And again, it's on a full accrual basis. The first, or actually second column there, starts with expenses. Government agencies are in the business of providing services, so those are the cost of services. The city overall had about $10.6 million in costs providing services. The next column is charges for services, fines, and fees. We had a little over $7 million to help pay for that $10 million in costs. You had just over $1 million in operating grants to help cover those costs. And the remaining amount of costs, a little over $2 million, were then subsidized by taxpayers. The fifth line from the bottom, your governmental activities had a change in position of a negative $488,000. That means you spent more than you brought in this year. But your proprietary activities, your water and sewer fund, they had almost $900,000 of excess revenue over expenditures. Next, I'd like to turn to page 16. So page 16 is your balance sheet, similar to the statement of net position, except this is what's called the modified accrual basis. It's almost like cash basis, and you have different funds there, and people like to refer to them as pots of money. How much are in these different pots of money? So your general fund, with the first fund there, the second line from the bottom, you have about $2.7 million in fund balance, or in the pot of money there for your general fund. And then CDBG, you have a restricted fund balance there of almost $5 million. Public facilities as well, $4.5 million. Storm drain fund had a loss, or a negative net position of almost $6,600,000. But overall, and then you have in other funds. The city has a bunch of smaller funds that are summarized here. The detail of each of those funds are in the back of this report. But this is the total of all of them. And they have $2.8 million in fund balance in those funds. And overall, you have $14.2 million in all governmental funds. Next, I would like to turn to page 18. So these are your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances, again, on a modified accrual basis, which is almost like cash basis. If you look over on the right, the total column, the first section, you have total revenues in your governmental activities, and the city had about $6.4 million in total revenues in your governmental activities. The next section has expenditures. And so the total of those were almost $6 million being spent over on the right, the last column. And then you have the third line from the bottom, you have $329,000 of excess of revenue over expenditures for all your governmental activities. And that flows into your fund balance from the previous year and increases it for this year. And that's all I wanted to point out in this report. There's another letter that's addressed to the City Council. It's a management and City Council report, and it talks about a little bit about the city's internal controls and some of the highlights of the audit. And one aspect of our audit is we look at the city's internal controls, system of checks and balances that help reduce risk for fraud or error at the city, to loss to the city's assets. And as going through our internal controls, we did not find any issues. There was nothing reported there. We report any immaterial issues there, and we did not report, there were no issues we could find. The internal controls were in good shape at the time we looked at them during our audit. So I just wanted to point that out. And that's it.
Any questions? No, thank you. Thank you very much. Sounds like we're in pretty good shape.
My pleasure, yeah, actually.
Thank you.
Thanks to Lou, huh?
Actually, thanks to all the departments, because they're all watching the budget.
Well, don't give me too much credit. He'll go to his head and he'll go try to get a raise from one. Anyway, thank you. We appreciate it. We know how hard you work to keep us safe.
Absolutely.
And with that, bring it to the council for direction.
Move for the adoption of Resolution 2018, next to number, a resolution receiving and accepting the general purpose financial statement and Transportation Development Act for audits for the fiscal year beginning June 30th, 2017.
I'll second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried forward, 5-0, Speedy. And with that, we'll move on to item 11. That's District 5 Stanislaus County Supervisor, Mr. Jim D. Martini. Good evening, Jim.
He's chair now, right?
I'm Sorry.
DeMartini as chair.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Martella and members of the council. I just have a few things for you tonight. I have one thing to tell you probably thought would never happen. The draft EIR for the Crow's Landing Air Base was finally finished yesterday.
Oh, my goodness.
I thought I'd be in the nursing home.
I hope you were sitting down when you got that news.
I was just shocked, really. It's a year and a half late. And so, anyway, it's finally done, it's out. I talked to your city manager, the city has received a notice of that. It is, what I'm told, is 1,000 pages long.
Oh, God.
So it's just absolutely incredible, really. I'm just going to give you just briefly some of the stuff that it covers. I'm not going to go through them all, but it's air quality, agricultural resources, geology, soils, hazardous materials, hydrology, water quality, traffic and transportation. I mean, the list really just goes on and on.
What's a rough estimate that thing costs?
Oh, it's got to be at least a couple million. I don't know. I didn't ask that yesterday. I didn't think they'd ever finish it. But it's got to be a couple $1 million. I can really kind of see why this developer that we had interested in the project one time was never able to finish the environmental impact report. It is, the requirements to build stuff today in California is just unbelievable. You have to consider everything. And so anyway, right now it's out for a 45-day comment period, so I don't know who's going to get saddled with the task of reading that thing, but whoever draws a short straw, and then you can send us some comments and we will address all those comments. So in 45 days, the last day to comment will be on March 12th. So we appreciate your comments on that. Anyway, this project's starting to move along now. The county does have money to put in the infrastructure there, which is, the wells for the water, the buy-in to Patterson's sewer plant. We'll have to build a highway, bring in electricity, and so all that stuff that the county will pay for, which will be quite a bit. Anyway, we're committed to that, so, and say the one important thing, actually a couple of things, that is the project will be no bigger than what is on the base, 1,514 acres, and there will be no trains on that, so anyway, I think you'll find the project acceptable, but if there's something about it that you have concern about, we want to hear it. But the main problems with the last one were the trains and the 4,000-acre project, which just didn't fly over here. Anyway, so it's a different project this time. And this is what I'm told is a specific plan. So it is a very detailed plan. It's not a high-level plan. It's really just down into the weeds on what we plan on doing. So you won't be surprised by something, later that we didn't tell you. It should be all in there. We don't know what businesses will be there, but we're going to lay out kind of what we want. And part of the project is the development of the airport, too, which was really required by the military who gave us, actually the federal government who gave us the project, but we had to keep at least one runway in that they could use, they being the military in case of a national emergency, that they would be able to use that runway if they needed it. I don't think that would be necessary, but you never know, so it's, we can't take it out. You can take one out, but not both. Okay, in other news there, the Healthcare Task Force is going to meet on February 1st, about a week. The packets will go out tomorrow sometime. We will be meeting at Gustine City Hall at 6 o'clock in the evening. We're going to be have on the program some senior projects that we might consider doing. We do things, as you know, for children already, so every group has different needs, and so we'll be looking at doing some senior projects along with the children, and the West Side Walks and the Health Summit, which will be here in Newman again this year. Okay, and then on February 6th, as you know, I'm the chairman this year, rotates, not
means I'm doing just a great job or anything, it's just my turn to do it. And the State of the County address will be February 6th at 9 o'clock. And in that address, it was just finished yesterday, I wrote it myself, and so it deals with a lot of aspects of the county, agriculture, transportation. There's a little section that I did on the library, on Measure L, and there's probably the longest part in there was water and the Water Resources Control Board, and the effects, if they get what they want, what that might be to the county and to the cities, and law enforcement, so there's a lot of little parts to it, so. Anyway, February 6th, 9 o'clock. And that's all I have this evening. Unless you have a question about something.
Questions? No question. Congratulations on Cruz Landing.
Yeah, finally. We hope this job center, I did mention that in the State of the County address too. We hope this is a successful project.
I have a question. Good. I have a question for you. Why didn't they use the last developer who was out there? Why didn't the last developer who was, had Crow's Landing, Camellas? Why didn't they use his study?
Well, it just, I don't know, I think
It would have probably cost less, right?
parts of it, but it wasn't complete, and then it becomes obsolete after a few years, you gotta do it over again. He did some on traffic and transportation, but our project is much different than his, and we did look at that. I mean, he had 4,000 acre better project, ours is 1,500. He had rail coming in, and unloading containers from Oakland. We don't have that. And so it's a little bit different project, so.
Much smaller.
I'm not going to make any excuses for how long it took. I'm actually quite surprised that it drug on as long as it did, but it is finally done. I think it was probably a good product. We're not fast at the county, but we get everything done eventually. So this is a really good example of how a project can run way behind schedule, way behind. I mean, I don't even say, I guess they've tried their best, but they're a year and a half behind. But
Well, I'm glad that we've gotten this far.
yeah,
Because
the project really appears to go. I mean, we'll address any concerns the city has, or an individual, or any other group about it, but I think it'll be acceptable to this area. But, you know,
Because it's going to, once that project starts, I think it's going to have a great impact on the west side, and it's going to definitely put us on the map in terms of everything else developing around us, especially the corridor that's going to come through.
this will be on kind of the order of Keystone is what we're kind of looking at with an airport, and there'll be no residential housing in this either. This is industrial only, not even retail, just industrial.
The meeting on the 1st of February, what time was that at Gustine City?
6 in the evening,
6 in the evening.
Gustine City Hall.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you. With that, we'll go to item 12, item from the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor, and members of the council. Just going back to item 10A, and Lou touched on it a little bit, our budget was projected to have a deficit of nearly $400,000, but, thanks to the good department heads over there, we actually came out in the positive. So the turnaround was about $450,000 that we got turned around, so they don't all get all the credit. I think Chief Richardson gets most of the credit because he ran off a bunch of officers and we saved some money. Not paying anybody, so.
That's not necessary. That's not true.
But we got a new cap because they're pepper officers now, so. So with that being said, just for the 2-on-2 members, March will be our next meeting, so we'll give you a notice on that one, so. And then tonight, in your package, we originally went over the Measure L projects, and today was just a list of those projects you've already approved. But I'm just going to put it up on the screen real quick for the people at home that are watching this. So all the blue streets, that's what we're going to do this summer.
These are the projects, the overlays, whatever street improvement is necessary to bring them up to a higher level is going to be done on these particular streets. Our city engineer is engineering the project right now. He's probably about at 60% design. And I know he's working with our Public Works Director, Ms. Reyes. And so we hope to get that bidded out in March. April, probably award in April. April, May-ish, so we could probably start. We're trying to schedule a start for after school gets out. So maybe a June, July kind of construction period. But this represents probably in your CIP today, when you include engineering and a lot of the soft costs, about $1.7 million worth of road improvements that will be occurring in Newman here. And again, this is a testament back to the council and having the foresight to put together multiple years of Measure L funding to pay for this. So we're doing some internal borrowing. We'll come back to you with that later to fund this, and then we'll repay that borrowing when we receive our revenues from Measure L. So we think it'll have a big impact on it. As you can see there, a lot of those streets at Yolo, Hardin, or Said Street, Inyo, there's some need there to get some road improvements, so it's going to be a big project.
Mike, when the road work is complete, will this assist us in reference to the flooding around the city?
No, this won't do anything for the flooding.
So they won't crown the streets, to where it run off?
Well, they'll obviously make sure that they have proper slope and crowning, but we're not doing any improvements to storm drainage. We're not doing any improvements to our collection system that would change anything in terms of with respect to flooding at this time. Generally, our flooding comes when we have a large event. Our drains some of the drains just aren't large enough to handle all the water that fast. If you try to do that, the cost would be astronomical. You'd have these huge pipes in the ground, so that's why you have a little bit of storage in the streets. But having them improved will make it easier to travel on.
Do the Measure L funds cover that kind of thing? I didn't think they did.
No, they do not.
So there's not the funding there for that?
There's no funding for that through Measure L. So, but I can answer any questions that you may have.
They all got their first check last week.
Yeah, so after tonight, we'll send in the stuff, we'll start receiving our money in February, so. We're not really going to be constructing till May, so as long as we get our money by May, we'll be good.
They got our
They can hold it for a little while.
just under $500,000.
Just under $500,000, yeah.
484,000, I think it was.
We're going to probably get between $400,000 and $450,000 a year, just depending on how the economy goes. So,
Very good.
thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
One last question. How is the tree coming along?
The decorations have been taken down from the tree. I think our arborist, I don't think our arborist has been back out yet to assess it for when it leaned over during the high winds, but we'll get that out here and get it done. But I think our tree's still doing well. It's
going to survive.
It's staked down, yeah. It's going to survive. It's staked down. It's going to be fine. This week, Christmas decorations, the lights will be taken down. So.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Chief, you have anything tonight?
I do not have anything, but I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
No questions there.
Good evening. Just want to let the council and the public know that the homeless point in time count will be on this Thursday. The Family Resource Center will be at Pioneer Park, and as usual, staff will do more of the drive-by observations for any potential homeless population here in town. Also on Thursday is architectural review. It's a continuation of an item from last week. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Just a couple points I want to point out on our financial report. One, our general fund was actually positive this year. And secondly, that kind of shows that we as staff, we're actually living within our means and we're making those adjustments when we have to. A lot of times when we do our budget, and I'll be coming back with budget presentations this next June, a lot of times we do kind of over budget to plan to give ourselves flexibility for different projects that come up. Sometimes we get emergencies that come up, so we kind of build that into our budget. But then throughout the year, we make adjustments to make sure we're staying where we need to be. Also, because the audit is now completed, treasury reports will be resuming. I've completed those from June up and through December, and the treasurer signed off on those, and those are in your inboxes. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions?
Well, I don't have a question, I'd just like to make one. Do we give these administration bonuses?
Yeah, like our raises.
The bonus is they don't have to come to my office. I would say that, one thing you say, I think you guys are doing a great job, and it makes us feel comfortable to know that you're doing a tremendous job, and we can go to sleep at night, and knowing that we're going to wake up and, we'll have to scream and pull our hair out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lou. It always seems like when they get this report, it's always a little cautious. They don't want to say we're great, they just want to say we're doing a decent job. And I mean, I think the report is great, but the thing is, they don't present it that way. I mean, it's just pretty typical, I guess, of auditors and the way they talk and everything, and they just, they get excited about it.
We kind of have to be careful because they shouldn't be declaring like whether we're a great investment or anything like that. They just need to report, yeah, they're doing the right thing, yeah, they're doing the right thing. Are they following the guidance of the generally accepted accounting principles? Yes, they're doing that.
Generic.
And they won't stick their neck out too far.
Thank you.
But that's why the city is doing so well, is because of the staff and staff managers, staff department heads, taking care of your budgets, taking care of the needs of the community, city manager being efficient in his operations of our city. City clerk even does a good job. We don't give him much credit very often, but he does a good job. So it's a team effort here in this community, and it's so amazing to me to see how well oiled this machine is. It moves very efficiently. I've had experience in other communities, and I've seen other communities in action, and, well, I tell you, there's no place like Newman. So, thank you all.
You're right, I agree with you. I concur with everything Maurice just said. Public Director, anything for us tonight, Catherine?
I don't have anything to report on. I just want to thank you for letting me join this beautiful organization. And I don't have much to do with it, but hopefully I'll contribute this year.
Well, thank you so much.
Just warming that seat.
That's right.
Hey, Chief, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yeah, I just want to invite everyone out. Tomorrow we'll be doing a blood drive. It's going to be themed Battle of the Badges, so Fire Against PD. We already know who's going to win, but come out, show your support anyways. It makes them feel good.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You're trying to say that PD doesn't have any blood remains?
No, I'm not saying that at all. We're the ones putting it on. I control the ballot box. So, yeah.
And who carries the pistola?
They're not going to be there. They send representatives. But yeah, no, please come out. It's a good cause. And you get a T-shirt. I think they have a limited supply, but if you come down, you get a T-shirt and show your support.
I have a question. Saw that very nice letter from Mexico, and I would recommend that you go down there. Yeah, it's only like 20 hours, but I mean, you might tell what happened. I know you donated equipment to the city in Mexico, Chihuahua.
Yeah, correct. So we surplus some equipment from the fire department. On an annual basis, we'll get asked to donate that equipment to departments that aren't as fortunate. So what we'll do is we'll retire the gear here. We do have some standards, but down there they're hurting so bad they'll just take what they can get. So we donated approximately 20 sets of what we call wildland gear, and that's the stuff was replaced on that 50/50 grant from last year. So we were able to donate that, and they give us a little letter saying thank you.
It was a great letter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you looked it up on the map. It's about 900,000 people that live there.
Oh, wow.
It's not small. It's a beautiful place. Beautiful.
All right, so I'll be looking for that expense account, Michael.
Well, you can drive down. Yeah, 20 hours. It's great when you see something like that, that you can help some other people with equipment that you can't longer use. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? And with that, Casey, do you have anything tonight?
I got nothing tonight.
Leroy?
Yes. When you said that, my mind went blank. But I wanted to just mention that I went to that event that I was looking for you when I went to the school district, that this city of Newman, when I first moved here, I was skeptical. But I'm telling you, I've embraced this city, I've loved this city, and you couldn't drag me back to the Bay Area. In saying that, I think that we're doing some tremendous things in reference to the school district. I see that basically we're coming together, and I think that in due time, you're going to see where we would mold together, not just with the school district, but the city as a whole. And we're going to all be moving in one direction to make this city, one of the most popular cities on the west side. We're already being looked at, in terms of the things that we're doing here, and the staff that we have here, and even the city council, people are talking about that they don't see too much of you, but the key to it, but the key to this is that they're pretty satisfied. We don't have a whole lot of flack in terms of people fighting back at us. We're doing our job that we've been elected to do, and I'm surely glad to be up here on this council with you all and seeing the city of Newman moving forward. And so I'm looking for bigger things, not just in 2018, but the coming years.
Thank you. Nick, anything tonight?
Nothing tonight.
Mary, anything?
Nope, nothing tonight.
And I have nothing, but just like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And with that, I'd like a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. Okay, motion made and second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Dr. Shank.